Hello. Today is June 10th, 2014, and we are here in the home of Coleman Hatton. He has graciously agreed to be interviewed for this oral history project titled Gathering the Stories of Appalachian Foodways. My name is Barbara Holstein. I am from Morenci, Michigan, but my grandmother is from Corbin, Kentucky. I am a senior at Berea College, which is located in Berea, Kentucky. This oral history research project is being supported by a Berea College undergraduate research grant. My mentor for this research project is Dr. Margaret Dotson, Associate Professor in the Child and Family Studies Department at Berea College. First, we would like to thank Coleman for agreeing to participate in this interview. The first question I have for you is, can you just explain a little bit about where you're from, where your mother and father were from, like where you were raised?
Where there was what?
Where you were raised?
Where was up Powell County.
Okay.
Is that what you mean, my mother and father?
Mm-hmm. Yep, just your family.
She was raised in Clay County.
Okay.
And my father was raised in Powell County.
Okay.
Up there where I was running part of the time. Mm-hmm. That's where he was raised at, but she was raised in Clay County. Mm-hmm. So what else?
Okay. Can you tell me about your earliest memories farming or gardening?
My earliest marriage?
Your earliest memories, yep.
Of farming?
Yeah.
Oh, Lord. I've been a farmer ever since I've been working on a farm ever since I was 7 years old. Mm-hmm. Something to do with farming and everything. Mm-hmm. We raised everything. You raised everything. That's why you got to eat. You raised it on a farm. You didn't have no money to buy nothing with. You had to raise what you eat. So we raised everything. Garden, you raised beans, you raised taters, corn, cabbage, tomatoes, onions. What else? and then we raised cane, make molasses. You know molasses, don't you? Mm-hmm. We raised cane, make molasses for having through the winter. We'd raise big 50-gallon cans full of molasses for wintertime. And that's about it. I mean, off and on. They do that every year. That's the same thing every year. Mm-hmm. You raise everything you eat. Mm-hmm. That's the only way you had to live is raise it on a farm. Mm-hmm. But now you can work and make stuff, but you use farm stuff too. But back then, that's all you had to do. You had to raise it all to live on. Mm-hmm. And they can this stuff. You raise this stuff, you can it for the wintertime. Beans, corn, all that stuff, potatoes, you put them in the ground. You can dig a hole and put them in the ground and put some straw over them and cover them up, and you can go dig them out when you want to dig them. Mm-hmm. And they had cellars. I don't know whether you ever know anything about that or not. Mm-hmm. A cellar made in the ground to put your canned stuff in, to keep it through the wintertime. Mm-hmm. It stays warm. And they can all this stuff and put it in a cellar, and you go and get it out whenever you need something to eat. You go get it out and get it out of the cellar and fix it to eat. Mm-hmm. We've canned it here. I mean, since we've been married, we've done the same thing. Mm-hmm. She used to can it, everything. She used to can everything we eat here. Mm-hmm. We raised big gardens. It ain't been too many years since we raised a big garden. I'm a fool now. All I do now is grow a few tomatoes around the house. That's all I do. That's all I do now, because I ain't able to fool with it. I've got sense in my heart, and I've got a little of everything. Arthritis is my worst problem right now. My knees, and I've been taking shots and everything, my knees and everything. Don't do no good. I went to Lexington 8 weeks straight, took a shot in my knee and didn't do a bit of good. Yeah. So what else?
Well, you were talking about molasses. Can you explain how you made molasses a little bit?
Yeah, that's a good job. they've got a big pan. It's got that's like drawers. It's sections in it. Holds so much each section. This big pan, and you got a meal. A big meal sits up here, and you got a horse. You got a tongue on it. You put a horse to it, and that horse goes around and grinds that. You put them cane in that. It's a big thing that big around it. You put that cane in there, and it goes through there and mashes that juice out, and it goes down to the pan. Then that it got a fire under it, and it sits there and boils that till it gets a certain stage. Then you bring it down here, and you bring it down here, just keep bringing it down there. And when you get out down here, it's in molasses. School kids used to like to come to them and eat that foam off of where we're making that molasses. They like to go there and pick that foam off underneath it. Yeah, that old horse that stand go around all day long. And that meal, it's a very big thing, and it squeezes that juice out. You stick that in, that stalk in there, and it squeezes that juice out, and they got a pan runs down to the thing, and that's how it gets made. Oh. Cool. And that cane, when it squeezes all that juice out, then cane comes out of there. There ain't nothing in it but this juice. And we had a big hill. We throw them over the hill, and we play in that. We take it over that hill, turn almost that same thing, and them cane to them. And a creek down there, so I can right all in it to the creek.
How would you can things?
Huh?
You said you would can the vegetables. How would you do that?
Quart cans, quarts, half a gallon. You see them, ain't you? Quart cans.
Yeah.
So you have to cook it. You put it in and cook it, and then you put it in them jars and seal it up. It's got lids on there. It's got gum goes around there, seals it up tight. You have to seal it tight, though, it won't keep. So beans, you cook them in a tub, like a big tub. Set so many jars in there and let them cook so long, about 4 hours, I think. You cook them about 4 hours. Then you put them in that cellar or whatever you got to put them in through the winter. And beets, there's something else I didn't mention. Raised beets too. You see them, ain't you? They're good. I like with canned beets. You raise them too. What else? Is there anything else?
Would you
Carrots, yes, carrots. Raised carrots. Radishes. And strawberries.
Would you can the strawberries
No.
too?
He just mostly sell them. They just sell them. When they get ripe, pick them in bags, boxes, put them in boxes and sell them.
Did you have other fruit, like other fruit trees or?
Yeah, we had apple trees. I've had them here. I had some good at least peach tree. I had good peach trees right down there. And coons eat them all up. Groundhogs eat them all up. And the coons eat them up for me. And I couldn't have none for the coons and groundhogs. So you know what I done? I got me a trap, and I set it down there. I caught 5 possums, 5 groundhogs, and a coon.
Oh my goodness.
I hauled them suckers off. Took them way away from them and turned them loose. I got rid of them, but still there's more down there, but I cut the tree down.
Wow.
I did. I had prettiest peaches ever you seen, and I mean they was good too, sweet as they could be. But couldn't have nothing for the animals.
Yeah.
They come out of there's a big garage down there, and they come out behind that garage, right around that garage, come out down to where that tree was. So I put my trap right the hole where they come out like. What else do you need?
When you were a child, what were your favorite foods to eat? Like that your mom would make?
What she make?
Mhm.
Oh, I don't know. Everything. She had about the same thing I'm telling you about. All kind of stuff. Pies, you make pies. Apple pies, I like them. You ever eat them? The fried apple pies, they're good.
Oh, yeah.
They make them here all the time, them girls do.
So do you still have them? Like your wife makes them?
They're good. You know what back then, I don't know where you ever eat any of the meal gravy. You ever eat any meal gravy?
No, I've never had it, but I've heard of it. I'm not sure what it is.
And that's
though.
what we eat when we was growing up.
Okay.
She made meal gravy and we eat that. Biscuits and yeah, that's something else. That's something else. We kill hogs.
Okay.
Every year we kill hogs. I done that since I've been married. I killed 2 to 3 hogs every year. And salt it down and put it in the building, salt it down. It was salt. It lay so long it cures out just like you buy out of the store. And beef. That's another thing. I kill beef. I don't know, I killed several beefs since I've been married. But, I mean, that's something else good too.
How do you preserve that? The beef?
Beef?
How do you preserve? Yeah.
All I done to it was just kill it and clean it and quarter it up, and I had a locker down here in town. Take it down there and they put it in there and freeze it and fix it and cut it up and fix it. I didn't cut it up, I just quartered it up. I killed a beef once by myself, weighed about 700 pounds. I killed it myself.
Oh my goodness.
I sure did. I killed it, cleaned it, cut it, quartered it up and took it down there.
Now, would you do that before you had refrigeration? Would you ever have beef before
We
that?
didn't have no refrigeration.
Oh, okay.
I'd take it down.
So you take, okay.
They kept down here in town. They had refrigeration. You take it down there and they keep it down there.
Okay.
We didn't have none. You didn't have no electric or nothing. All you had was coal oil lamps. No television. Just the radio was all you had. No television back then.
Yeah.
Back then, people would go to one another's house. They'd visit one another's house and listen to old Grand Ole Opry and all that on the radio. Didn't have no television. So, there's a whole lot of changes made since I've been.
So, how did you keep milk and eggs cool? Without the milk and eggs, without refrigeration, how would you keep them cool?
They had ice. Had the ice box.
Okay.
They made they sold ice, big pieces of ice, about that big, that thick. You had boxes, you put them big pieces of ice in there and that keeps it cool. So that's the only way you had it cooling. They called it ice box, what they call it. That's the only way. That happened for way up late. I guess I don't know how old I was before they had an electric. Shoot, it's been a long time since before they had electric when I was growing up. Everybody, ain't nobody have no electric. Yeah, that's how you kept your eggs and things cool. Milk, you know what to do with milk? Had wells, these wells that you draw water out of, big wells. Get you a bucket or a gallon of milk or something, and hang it down in that water, let it keep it cool in there. That's the only way you had done it. And water, didn't have nothing but springs. Those springs come out of the ground. That's the only way you had any water. They didn't have this city water and stuff like you got now. Didn't have none of that. I wasn't used to that. I mean, things was tough back then. Oh, you'd be surprised how tough stuff was about I was raised up. Nobody had nothing. So what you worries on that farm, that's all you had. I don't know if I got all them things in there or not. I guess I did.
Yeah.
Any more you got in there?
Yeah, yeah. Oh, did you have a dairy cow? Did your family have
Yeah,
one?
and that's another thing. We milk cows.
Okay.
Yeah, I forgot that. Yeah, we had cows. I had cows down here when I've been down here since I've been married. I had milk cows all the time while I was married. I ain't been too long since I got rid of cows. I used to. That's another thing I done down here is milk cows, sell cream.
Okay.
That's another thing I made a little money out of when I was down here after I got married. I was going to a school down here, getting a little money out of it, and then I was milking a few cows and selling cream too, and working $2.50 a day on top of that. That's how I live.
So would you make butter out of the milk that you had?
A hand. A big bunch of cattle, you take them milkers, they got milkers to milk them with. But I just milk mine by hand. Both hands. She did too, me and her both milk cows. Now what else? Anything else?
Yeah, this is when you were younger and you were going to school, what kind of lunches would you take?
What?
When you were younger and were in school, what kind of lunches would you take?
Oh, we took it from home.
Yeah, right, but what would you
whatever
have?
she had to fix, just anything she had to fix. Raised on a farm. Maybe fry some taters and some stuff like that, but biscuits, that's about all he had.
Is that what other students would have too?
That's what they took it in lunchbox, little lunchbox. That's all you had. You didn't have nothing else to get. Just anything you raised on the farm. Meat, you got some meat, you can have to put it in between biscuits, fry meat and stuff like that. But that's it, that's all you had. What else?
What about chickens? Did you?
Yeah, we had chickens too.
Okay.
That's another thing. We raised chickens and eggs. You didn't have to buy eggs. See, you had your chickens and get your eggs. So that's something else. Me and her, since we've been married, we'd raised maybe 50 chickens, little ones. Raise them from little up to fry, big enough to fry, about 2.5, 3 pounds, and kill them all, and dress them and put them in a cooler. You have fried chickens all year long. We raised them. I don't know how many chickens we'd done that way. And I had hens that laid the eggs. I kept big pretty hens and kept them in a pen and fenced around them. And had that them youngest mine wouldn't eat it. Them eggs come from them hens. Said they wasn't clean. I had to go buy eggs for them, and we got eggs from them hens.
Oh.
They wouldn't eat. I'll tell you. They wouldn't eat them eggs. I said, the eggs you buy at the store come from hens too.
Yeah.
They wouldn't eat them eggs come from them hens. Pretty big hens, have you seen? They didn't get out getting nothing nasty or nothing. They kept them in the pen, fenced in all the time. So they was clean. I fed them, and they sure wasn't nasty. But chickens runs out, they'll eat anything.
Oh.
That's the reason they ain't clean, if you don't keep them up. So I kept them up. They didn't get out and eat everything. Anything else?
Yeah. Do you remember, like when you were younger, what kind of stove your mom would cook on?
Wood
stove.
stove.
A wood stove. Okay.
Good, they're good too. Wood stove was better than these things.
Oh, it was better? Yeah.
Stuff cooks better on it, seems me like.
Okay.
Oh, we burnt wood all winter too. That's something else. we had to burn wood. We didn't have nothing else but wood to burn, big logs. That was my job. Had to get out and get wood on. I was the oldest one in the family. And I had to get on all the wood and everything. I go up on top of a big cliff. We lived up there. There's a big cliff up there on top. And I'd go on top of that big cliff and cut down trees about that big around and dump them over that cliff by myself. Nobody helped me. And when it snow or the ground freeze, I'd go and put them on and push them down to the house. Take a mule. I took that mule with me up there, and he cut them and put them up the edge of the cliff and roll them over the cliff. Nobody with me, and I was a long ways from home too.
Yeah.
I bet I was 3 miles from home, on top of that big cliff. I rode that mule right up there and around on top of the cliff. And we raised corn to feed the cattle, the horses. And I had to go about, I guess it's a mile I had to go haul it to the house, go and bring it to the house. And a lot of times you couldn't even see me from the mule, neither one. I have a sled full of that. For the snow, it was snow and it's pouring down, and you could only see me and the mule, neither one.
The corn that you grew, would you grind that for cornmeal as well?
I would just put it to them. They eat the fodder. I call it the fodder. Them stalks the corn's raised on. You feed them that corn, just the year corn. You just give it to them. Break it up in pieces. They eat it like that.
Yeah, but for you and your family, would you grind any of the corn for cornmeal?
Oh yeah, we ground for to eat. I had to go, and that's something else. We lived about 3 miles from town, and this old man had a grist mill over where he ground corn on. That was my job every Saturday, take that mule with a sack of corn over and have it ground for meal. And you hear the grit in it. They had a thing made thing that holds on with sticks up. You grit it with that year corn on and grit it off. And there's a whole lot of different ways you can do that. But that was my job every Saturday, going to have that meal ground for the week. Shell a big tub full of corn at night. We'd do that at night, get it ready to go the next morning. Now what's next? You might get something amiss somewhere.
When you were gardening, do you remember if you saved your seeds like to use the next year?
Yeah, save something.
Yeah, to save the seeds.
Yeah, you save seed for the next year. Corn. You can raise corn. You save yours for the next year, if you want to. Yeah, see something else. It seems like I would get something.
What? Sorry.
I don't know. It's some kind of something else. I was forgetting. I forget now what the name of it was. We made pies out of it. Pie. I can't think of the name of it. Anyway, it's stuff that we grow in the garden. You grow it anywhere. Pie plant.
Pie plant?
You ever heard of pie plant?
Rhubarb?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's stalk about that big. It gets about that big. It's that how you take it and peel it, cut it up, make best pies ever you seen. Hey, my daughter in there's got some of it at her house now. Big stalks. She's got big stalks that big on there. It makes good pies. Anything else I missed?
Oh, no, you're fine. Did you ever buy any of your seeds, or would you save them for?
My mother made biscuits.
Okay.
Homemade biscuits. You've heard of that, ain't you? You ever eat a homemade biscuit? They're the best biscuits you can buy. She made the best biscuits you ever eat. She made them out of flour. You make dough. You make dough and roll them biscuits out of that dough about that big. You got a little thing, cuts them out. You got a rolling pin, you roll it out. Take that thing, cut them out, and just like biscuits, right, and put them in the pan and bake them.
Mm-hmm.
Better than these you buy. A lot better than that you buy.
Yeah.
I've had different ones up there.
Mm-hmm.
Used to be up there when they were growing up. They'd eat my mother's biscuits. Oh, I'll go up there and get some of her biscuits. She did make good biscuits. Anything else?
Uh-huh. Over the years, it seems like fewer and fewer people garden. What are some reasons why so few people garden anymore, do you think?
What? I mean, what?
Like garden, like just gardening. Why do you think that people don't really garden anymore?
They don't like to, I think, for one thing. Most of them don't like to raise it.
Mm.
I'd say that's most, but they just don't like to raise it.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of people raising gardens. I got a son-in-law who lives out there on Muddy Creek Pike. They raise a lot of garden. He set out about 200 tomato plants, and got mushmelons, watermelons, beans, corn. He's got all that.
Mm-hmm.
Now, they ain't very many raised garden more.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why they don't.
Yeah.
But not like they used to.
Mm-hmm.
Very few.
Yeah.
Now what?
Would you talked about having strawberries. Would your mom make jam out of the strawberries?
Yeah, you can make jam out of them.
Would you have other kinds of jam?
Huh?
Would you have other kind of jams? Like
No.
different kinds from...
I think they can make different kinds out of them, but she never did fool with them. We never did raise them that many of their own.
Okay.
All I fooled with just some to raise and sold them.
Okay. Great.
That's about all we fooled with them. Wasn't too much in them.
Did you ever go hunting, you or...
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I used to hunt all the time
Mm-hmm.
when I was young. Squirrel hunt, rabbit hunt, coon hunt, deer hunt.
Do you have any stories or anything about that? Just about hunting?
Nah, I don't. I know one time I went coon hunting. We had to raise dogs treat a coon. We had to raid the river to go across where they're at.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that deep. Like to froze to death.
Mm-hmm.
I said I wasn't doing no more of that. It wasn't worth it.
Oh.
So we didn't kill them or nothing. They just went to them. That's all.
Did you get other food, like from the woods, maybe mushrooms or...
Yeah, I've got mushrooms. You know what they are? You ever
Mushrooms?
see them?
I don't know if I've seen wild ones. But...
Yeah, and that's where you get them out in the woods.
Mm-hmm.
About that big around, and some of them about that tall.
Oh, wow.
They're good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I used to get them. There's a whole lot of things in the woods I used to get you don't get now.
What sorts of things?
Make greens, you call it greens, you cook greens. There's about 3 or 4 different things in the woods used to. You get and mix them together and cook them and make good greens out of it. Them the other flowers you see out in the yard,
No, I didn't.
dandelions you call them.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Used to use them in greens too. And I call them leather britches, they call them. They get about that high. You mix them in with it. You mix them and there's something else I think it was you used to put them in. They make good greens. But now you don't see none of that. Nobody don't fool with it.
Yeah.
They don't know what it is no way. Because back then they used it. Now people don't do nothing like that.
Mm-hmm.
Now what next?
Can you tell me about your earliest memories of going to a local store? Like when you first started going to stores?
Oh no.
No.
Didn't go to the store very much.
Right.
So you didn't have no money to go with.
Mm-hmm.
But all you bought then was coffee, flour, and we had our meal, we ground our meal, so we didn't have to buy that. And sugar, coffee, sugar, and flour. It's about the main thing you buy. That's about all you buy.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't have much money to buy that with.
Mm-hmm.
I know that cost me that coffee cost me to wreck my car once.
Oh.
I just bought a car,
Mm-hmm.
and the brake grabbed one of the brake grabbed on the wheel if you just hit the brake very much. So I come down here at Winchester to get seat covers for the seats.
Mm-hmm.
Me and two of my brothers with me. We come down here and went back,
Mm-hmm.
and my dad and them said, "Don't forget to stop and get some coffee."
Mm-hmm.
So we had to go on into town to get coffee, and went around this curve up there, and there was a mule out in the road, and I had to try to hit that brake a little bit. I knowed it'd catch, so when I did, it caught and jerked that steering wheel out of my hand. We rolled down through a field, but it turned over 3 or 4 times right down through a field.
Oh my goodness.
Smashed the top of it in. And it didn't hurt no one of us, all 3 of us in there. I just got a little scratch out of it.
Mm-hmm. Oh my goodness.
But that was a good car. 38 Nash. It had that now, it'd be worth no telling what.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty car too. He would drive it on 12 or 8 cylinder, either one. It had 12 cylinders. I met me and her courting then when I got that car. I went and picked her up that night. Mm-hmm. And the next day, here I'd wrecked. I raised a crop of backer
Okay.
to get the money to buy that with. Took every bit I got out of the backer
Mm-hmm.
to get that car with.
Can you tell me a little bit about raising that?
Hmm?
Can you tell me a little bit about raising?
Backer?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, you've got to raise plants. Now they got these greenhouses that raise them in, but back then, the way we raised them then, you dig about 50 or 100 foot beds, what they call them. Long, 150, 100 foot long beds, that's about 8 foot wide. You burn it with wood, put wood on it and burn it good to kill the weeds out of it.
Okay.
Then, after you get that all done, you fix it up and rake it up and fix it all up good and take the seed and sow it and put cotton on it. Then they get up big enough, get about that high, you set them out. With a backer setter. You got a backer setter you set with. 2 people sets on it. Drop them plants in there. I've done that millions of times. My son-in-law here, he used to raise 40 acres tobacco. Last he raised was 40 acres out here, and I helped him in all of it. Helped him house it, helped him set it, and helped him strip it. Over 100,000 pounds of tobacco we stripped out of that. Now, what is that?
Did you? I know you said you didn't really go and buy anything at the store. When did you start buying things at the store?
Oh Lord, long time. I went now here. I don't know where you know it or not. 3C camps. You remember 3C camps back in the 30s? They had 3C camp back in the 30s.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
And I joined that, stayed 6 months, and ended up in the mountain, Harlan County, up in the mountains. I stayed there 6 months in that. Then, and wait till I was 20 years old. They called me to the Army. And I had to go to the Army, and I was 20 years old. So I stayed in there a little over 3 years in World War II. I was in World War II in Germany. I drove a tank. I got a picture of tank in there in the room. I drove a tank about 3 years. What time was it? Almost 3 years. And I come out of there. When I come out, wasn't no jobs up there no more, so I went to Dayton and worked a while. Dayton, Ohio. Worked in the machine shop out there. Worked out there for a while and then quit out there and come back home, went to farming again. Wasn't nothing else to do. That's all he had to do.
Yeah.
Then I got married. And got married and didn't have no job. So this man down here, there was a boy I knowed up there in Pelican, he'd come down here and rent a farm down here off somebody. And he called up there and called me, he said, there's a farm down here you can rent if you want to come down and rent. So I said, okay, I come down here and rent a farm off this man. I've been doing that ever since. Out here on the urban road, I rented a farm. Stayed out there 1 year, and he sold it. And I went down next to the river down there and rented one down there, and stayed there 3 years, I think it was. And he sold it and went to Scott County and bought one down below Georgetown. And I went down there with him, stayed a year down there with him, and moved back to Winchester out here on the urban road and bought another farm out there. Stayed a year there, and me and him got into it, and I left him. I went down to another place down here and stayed, I think about 3 years, and then I went and got me a job at Avon. Worked there 20 years. Come back to farming. I bought a farm out here on Mount Sterling Road. I had a little farm out there. I bought it out there, and I stayed out there and farmed for I don't know how many years. I sold it. I sold that farm, come up here and went to run the pool room. But the worst thing I ever done. I could kick myself selling that farm.
Yeah.
So I run that pool room for 4 years and quit it. Bought a service station down there and started running it for a while and couldn't do no good at that, so I quit it and went out there on the Lexington Road, the Somerset service station out there, and got a job out there at hit, and I worked out there hit 7 years and got into it with my boss out there one day and I quit. So see, I tell you all these things I've done to be a big list with. So I quit him and I come back. I come back to the house that day. After, they come in, they thought I was working. Here I sat there at the house. I said, what happened? I quit. And I worked out Rockwell out there, janitor out there for a while. I can't think of all the places I've worked. Had to work somewhere to make a living. You got to work, and you got kids, and you got to work. She worked a while out there sewing factory, but she didn't work too long. Now, what else? Anything else?
Yeah, you said you were in World War II. How is the food different from being in the war, and then like different from your home food?
Oh Lord, I'm lucky to even be here. Yeah, that war business is dangerous. I mean, my tank got hit all over. We all got killed. The commander we hadn't been to him getting killed, we'd all got killed. We had a commander over the whole thing. And here we up here at this town, and them Germans had a big pillbox sitting there with a gun about that big, barrel at that big, shooting everything come into it, just knocking it out. And that commander we had, standing up in the tank, going right into that, and knows good and well he couldn't knock it out. Telling everybody, come on, come on. And they shot his head off right there. Dropped down the tank. Captain took over. Sent some boys in there at night with some hand grenades and killed them Germans and never lost nobody. That field was laying full of soldiers dead and tanks burned up before he could have been there. You never seen nothing beat that. They sent us out there to pick up the dead. I said, my stomach won't take that. Pick them up and put them in white bags. Hogs been eating on them, and dogs and everything been eating on them dead soldiers. You never see such a nasty mess in your life. I said, my stomach won't take that. Yeah. Now I like got killed in those devils several times. It ain't no good. I tell you, that war business ain't no good. Yeah. I heard the other day where 5 of these soldiers got killed yesterday over in Afghanistan. There ain't no business over there. Yeah. They ought to come bring them soldiers out there and forget about that place over there. What are they going? If they win, what are they going to get? A bunch of rock. That's all it is. Big hills and rocks. But I got wounded, my knee wounded, and I had to go to the hospital. And I got out of the hospital. Well, after the war was over, all of my company had got killed, but about five of us left. That's all it was out of my company. And so they got a bunch of new ones over there. We got a big bunch of new boys come from the States over there after the war's over. And that's what I was doing, is training them new boys. And I got at the hospital and stayed there about a week or two, and when I got out of the hospital, my company had moved about 200 miles from where I was at. Oh. And I stayed there about a week, and they didn't have enough gas to take me to my company. And I said, I got tired of that. I said, they said, well, if you want to go home, we got outfits going home, said we'll let you go home with them. I said, well, just let me go. And I come on home. I was going to stay. I had it made. I was training them boys. I wasn't done nothing. I had it made. I was going to stay. And that messed me up. So I come on home and that wound my journey up. Oh, I've been into everything, ain't I? I've been into everything, ain't I?
Yeah.
Them boys I was training, all they had to do was go out there, get up and go out there and get in them tanks and take them out in a big field. And I was trying to learn them drivers, commanders, and gunners. See, you get stripes for that. So I told them, I said, you're going to be over here anyway, you might as well make what you can out of it. They wouldn't listen to that. They wouldn't. They'd stay in the bed and wouldn't go down there to the pool. So I went to the first sergeant. I said, you're going to have to do something. He said, what? I said, these suckers is laying in the bed and won't come down there. They won't come down there to the pool. And he said, oh, well, I'll fix that. He put it on the bulletin board, and when they go through the eat that night, it's on the board. They put it on the board so you see what you have to do the next day. I went through there and I wanted to see what it's saying. When it oh, they went to look at that. I said, look at her, you want to be out here. He said, he put it on. I said, you be out here at a certain time in the morning, lined up out here in the morning, and if you don't, well, it's going to be too bad for you. So that next morning, come out there, they's all out there. Every one of them was out there. He said, take you to the pole. If any of them comes back, you come and let me know. I stopped that. They said, well, we're going to come back. We'll be back home in a year. I said, I doubt that. You know.
You were talking about your mom making biscuits earlier. Did she make other sorts of breads, or? No.
What?
Did she make other sorts of breads other than biscuits?
Yeah. Biscuits.
Just biscuits?
Yeah, biscuits. Gravy. Meat, if you got meat to fry. You always kill hogs that meat. Yeah, that's about it, I guess.
Okay.
Sausage, it had sausage too. Make sausage, you make sausage out of meat too.
How do you do that? How would you do that?
Oh, you grind it, you take the lean part of the meat and you've got a grinder, you put it in there and grind it. Comes out ground up, and then you put your whatever you want to put in it, whatever kind of it's 3 or 4 different things you can put in there, salt and pepper and different things you put in there. Whatever you want to do, don't make it too hot. Yeah, you can put it in there, but sometimes you put too much in there, make it too hot. So that's about all I have.
Okay. You said something about fried apple pies.
Yeah.
What other kind of desserts would your mom make?
How they make them?
Yeah, well, you can explain how they made them. Yeah.
No, you cook your apples. You cook the apples up, cook them good enough. Roll your dough out, little piece, just put your apples in there. There's so many apples in there, and just flip that over and mash it around the edge, fry it. That's all there is to it. I cook, you know.
You cook?
I do all the cooking here.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I cook her breakfast, take it to her in there on the couch. She sits on the couch, I take her breakfast to her.
So would you cook when you were younger as well?
When I had that restaurant, when I had the pool room, I cooked all the time. I cooked every morning, waiting on that place full by myself. I fried anything. I had anything you want to eat for breakfast. Bacon, eggs, sausage. I had anything you want. I fixed anything you want. By myself. I done that by myself. I cook here. I cook her what she wants to eat. Sometimes she eats sausage, biscuits, and eggs. I fix them for her in the morning. I cook all the time. I cook hamburgers. Anything. I cook anything. I had the best hot dogs you eat down there run that pool room. Best chili you put in your mouth.
Who taught you how to cook? Did your mom?
Huh?
Who taught you how to cook?
Myself.
Oh, you did? Okay.
I started cooking in the Army when I went to the Army.
Okay.
And worked about a week in there and I quit. I should have stayed on, I guess. No, I just took it up on my own. I cook anything I want, fry eggs, fry anything. Hamburgers, hot dogs. That's something else I had in that pool room. I had good hot dogs, good hamburgers. I can fix good hamburgers. Everybody brags on me. Right now I see them people down there say, where you going to get another pool room? I said, don't mention a pool room. I don't want no more pool room. Yeah, now, after I run that in 4 years, I quit and went back to farming. Then I turned around, there's another pool room down there that's selling, and I turned around and my brother-in-law come down here. He was up in the mountains working, and they closed the place up there, and he come down here hunting for something to do, and they was going to sell that pool room down there, and he said, well, how about me and you just going in together and buying that pool room? I said, okay. So we went down there and I bought it. But he wasn't worth a dime to help me. I done all the work by myself. So I sold it out. I didn't run it long. I got rid of it. I told him one day, I got tired of fooling with him. I said, I'm selling this thing. So I went to the house, told the real estate man, they sold it.
Would there be any special dishes that were made for maybe Thanksgiving or Christmas?
Oh, now?
Like when you were younger?
Oh, no. We didn't have much when I was growing up. You didn't get much because we didn't have no money to buy nothing with. Now they make big outs at it now. They buy different stuff here on Christmas and everything.
Did you and your wife do that? Like when you got married or after that, would you do something special for like food-wise for Thanksgiving or Christmas?
Not too much. She didn't like to go out.
Oh.
I like to do stuff, but she wouldn't. She don't like.
Oh.
She don't like to get out and visit around. I like to visit around.
Mm-hmm. Do you remember the first time you ate at a restaurant?
Huh?
Do you remember the first time you ever ate at a restaurant?
No.
No?
No, I've been in so many of them, I don't know.
Okay. Do you,
That's something she didn't like to do.
Okay.
I'd eat a lot of restaurants. If she'd go with me, most she won't go.
Oh.
And these little things, won't go. If she finds out anything in there dirty or something other, she won't even go to that restaurant.
Oh.
I mean, she's the worst particular person you've ever seen. About something being dirty or something other. But now she ain't able to do nothing hardly. She don't do nothing now hardly. These girls wait on her. I got 5 girls.
Okay.
Had one boy. He got killed in a car wreck. Him and my grandson both got killed in a car wreck. About 19 years ago. Out here on 60. Hit a tree out there. Killed both of them, but 2 of them there. Then a month or so after that, I had a granddaughter come work in Powell County down down the Parkway, and she lost control and hit a tree and killed her. Had all kind of bad luck. Anything else?
Yeah, could you tell me anything about how things have changed relating to food, like when you were younger and then now?
What?
Relating to food, like how they have changed, like when you were younger, like the way people eat food, the way people prepare food from like when you were younger till now.
Oh, no.
No, nothing.
Ain't much difference.
No.
I don't think there's too much difference.
Okay.
I don't think there is. Way back then.
Mhm. Okay. Well, is there anything else you can think of relating to food that we didn't cover?
That's what I was trying to think of, but
Oh.
I don't know of nothing else. I don't know of nothing else. We've covered it.
Okay. Well, that's all my questions then.
Is it?
Mhm. All right. Thank you very much.
That's a whole lot of questions, wasn't
Yeah.
it? Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.